Hello, everybody. I'm Jim Noble with Wofford head coach Dwight Perry, and welcome again to an episode of Inside Wofford Basketball here at Jerry Richardson Indoor Stadium. And man, last time we did this, Dwight, we were joking about how this team is going to give either you or me or both of us a heart attack. Since then, with all the 1-point wins, another couple of close games, a bump in the road against some of the better teams in the conference, and then a huge win over arch rival Furman. Just another day of life in the SoCon. How are things going right now?
Overall, they're going well. Like we've talked about throughout the year, it's going to be ups and downs. It's not going to be seamless. It's not going to be perfect. But the most important thing is that our guys are continuously trying to get better on and off the court. And as a team, we're continually trying to improve. And I think overall, we've done a good job of that so far.
So we're looking ahead on the show. We will look back over the last couple of weeks and some of the ups and downs that Dwight's talking about. Look ahead to a big road test for the Terriers coming up, and then some good games here at home for the home fans to enjoy. And we'll take a look at this man away from basketball. If such a thing even exists, we will talk about how a coach deals with everything on top of basketball. It's all ahead here on Inside Wofford Basketball, sponsored by Yokohama.
It's the moment you dream of, the moment you work for, train for, run wind sprints when nobody's watching for, the moment when hours of gym time, court time, prep time, all culminate into this time, the moment when millions of bounces, blocks, and boards all add up to this, your moment. Ingles, we're with you every step of the way.
You're true blue, up before the sun. The men and women we count on every day. And you count on your Carolina Ford dealers, so you can be ready for what's next. Stay focused and connected. Help inspire a generation. And when you need us most, we're here for you. Get 1.9% financing for 72 months with up to $4,150 package savings on select Ford trucks, only at your Carolina Ford dealer.
Welcome back. Well, when last we left you, you were 2-1 in SoCon play. Get ready to head down to Charleston, and that game against the Citadel, let's start there. That was a wild one because Wofford came out shooting the lights out. You took a big lead, and the Citadel comes back in the second half to retake the lead, and you guys dug deep, Dwight. I know this is a common story. Dylan Bailey was huge down the stretch. Corey Tripp made one of the more amazing game-ending plays we've seen, rebounding his own miss and dribbling out the clock. It was another 1-point win. You know, some people are saying, oh, they're squeaking by some of the bottom teams in the league. I've never been one to turn my nose up at a road win in the Southern Conference, and I think winning close games gives teams confidence in those situations.
100%. I think in this league, anytime you can win a game, home or on the road, against a team that's in first, last, it really doesn't matter, because I think a lot of people don't realize all the hard work that goes into a win, regardless of where it is and who it's against. It takes a lot of hard work, a lot of preparation, and a lot of discipline to be able to carry it out for 40 minutes, and obviously, as we know, sometimes 45 minutes. But our guys have done an unbelievable job. They're a resilient group. They've done a great job of continuously trying to get better. Again, the team that we are today, the team that we were when we beat Citadel, was not the team that we were when we beat High Point, over a month and a half, 2 months ago. And as a coach, that's the biggest thing. You want to see your team continuously trying to improve, to have that mentality that win or lose, we have to continuously try to get better. And our team's done a really good job of that. And we've had the fortune of winning close games that definitely could have gone the other way, like it was down in Charleston. But our team have found a way to win, and that's the most important thing, and that's exciting.
So you crush the Citadel by 1, you come back home, and you rout ETSU by 1. In that game, though, we're starting to see a pattern develop. Different heroes at different times. I think Corey Tripp has always been there for Wofford, but that sort of became the rise of Kyler Filowich and his double-doubles and his passing, which we'll talk about. Jackson Civil starts shooting the ball really well. When you get that balance, and we'll certainly talk about some other guys too, all of a sudden you're turning into a very hard team to defend.
Yeah, 100%. And that's something that we've talked about, and that was something that we were really intentional about this year. starting in the preseason, right, in the summer and the fall, before games even started. And again, we're cognizant of where we were projected to pick, where we were picked by the coaches and the media. And that's not something that fuels us, but it is something that, if we're being honest, that's a reality. And when you don't know, right, the ins and outs of our team, when you don't realize the true makeup of our team and what our guys are about, I think on the surface, yeah, you can say, okay, well, they only have this guy or that guy, or, you know, this particular player is only going to be able to do X, Y, and Z. But when you're around our guys on a daily basis and you see how hard they work and how much they want to get better, right, because at the end of the day, as coaches, we can tell them this is what you need to work on. At the end of the day, it's up to the player to really want that, and there has to be an internal motivation. And all of our guys have that. You mentioned Kyler, you mentioned Jackson, obviously a Dylan Bailey, you know, a Anthony Arrington, Chase Cormier. You can go on and on with our guys. They have not only gotten better from one year to the next, but our guys have done a great job of getting better within the same year. And I think that is a true representation, and that's really intentional by those guys, and I couldn't be more proud of them.
You mentioned already, we both mentioned 4 or 5 names now, and then again, that sort of goes to the message. I think Anthony Arrington might be Exhibit A right now. He had a wrist injury earlier in the year. I don't know how many people were counting on Ant to be an integral part of this team. What has he done to earn the trust of the coaches? We see him go out there and rebound. We see him hit big threes when given the opportunity. What's his overall work ethic and what's gotten him into the rotation?
Yeah, I mean, the great thing about Ant is his work ethic hasn't changed, you know, from last year to where he didn't really play, this year to where he was hurt, and then when he came back, he's always been a hard worker, and so that's never wavered. And what I've really appreciated about Ant is, at the end of the day, he's wanted to help the team win. And so whatever he can do to help the team win, he's willing to do, whether it's rebound, defend, you know, bang timely shots. You know, he's done a really good job. You talk about earning the trust, especially for a young guy. If you want to help the team win and impact winning, there's nothing more that you could do to earn the trust of your coaches than impact winning. And that's what Anthony Arrington has done from the moment, honestly, he came back from his injury. And again, he, right, has really helped elevate our team on both ends of the floor. And it's really cool to watch.
So Wofford's got a 4-1 conference record heading up the road to UNCG. Those next 2 games, UNCG and Chattanooga, certainly a lesson in the physicality and the intensity of Southern Conference play. Neither one went Wofford's way. But some of your young guys who had not experienced Southern Conference play, the freshmen and maybe a transfer or two, do you think it was a little bit of a reset for them to say, hey, now we know what you have to do to come out of the locker room each and every game, because you're going to fall behind, and the Terriers fell behind in both those games and never led. What do you think those 2 games did, although they were losses, in terms of lessons?
Yeah, I think at the end of the day, both of those games didn't go the way we wanted. And there's no secret. They were disappointing in that we didn't play to the best of our ability. And it had nothing to do with making or missing shots. And with respect to Chattanooga and UNC Greensboro, I think it had very little to do with what they did. It was more of what we did not do, what we control. And those are really well-coached teams that are really talented. Their record indicates that. But I thought more than anything, what we've tried to hang our hat on of being the harder playing team, the tougher team, and the more together team. We talked about it with our group after both of those games. We did not do that in any of those 3 categories for either one of those games. And as a program, right, that's just not acceptable if we want to have the success we're capable of having. Mm-hmm. And I think, right, wrong, or indifferent, our team understood that. You know, and that's the beauty of our team, is sometimes it's no different than any other family dynamic. The love there sometimes requires hard but honest conversations, and there has to be transparency. Everyone loves each other and everyone wants the best for each other, and sometimes that takes hard truths that you have to lay out on the table. And after the Chattanooga game specifically, we had that, but like we are going to talk about in a little bit, I think in the long run, I think that was probably, we needed that. And it unfortunately, you don't want it sometimes to come to that with those 2 games. But again, like we just talked about earlier, the season is not perfect. There's going to be ups and downs. And in order to get to where you want to get to, sometimes you have to hit a bump in the road like we did versus Greensboro and versus Chattanooga.
So in other words, it sounds like challenge extended, and then when Furman gamed it down, challenge accepted. That team, the Terriers, came out with an intensity from the opening tip that I haven't seen this year. You'd love to be able to bottle that and do it every night, but human nature being what it is, still, the quick start was big. The rebounding was huge, plus 13 on the boards. 46 to 14 points in the paint. Inside, outside, unselfish Wofford basketball. It seemed like it all came together that night.
No, it was great to watch, and the crowd was amazing. It was an electric atmosphere here. I thought the whole Wofford community and Spartanburg in general did a great job helping our team, provide our team with energy. It was phenomenal. One of the best crowds I've been a part of since I've been here. So a huge credit goes to our fans for the support. But you're 100% right. I thought, our team did respond, and we challenged them in a healthy way, but they did a great job responding on both ends of the floor. And, we talked to the team. We said this after Western Carolina. We shot 28% from three and lost by 4 at Western Carolina. And we told our team, we have the ability, we have the makeup to win these type of games against good teams, even when we don't shoot the ball well. And so it was really cool to witness that. We shot 26% from three against Furman, and we still won by 10. And again, a huge credit goes to, like you spoke to, the intensity and the effort that our guys played with. But again, it goes back to those 3 pillars. We played harder, we were tougher, and we were more together than the opponent. And when you have those 3 attributes going for you, I really believe with what we have in our locker room, the sky's the limit.
Corey Tripp was his usual self with 20. Jackson Civils kept his stellar play going. I've got to talk about Kyler Filowich and the assists. The world's largest point guard. Nope, just kidding. He's more of a point forward. When we get the ball inside to Kyler, the options that he has, either going to the basket or kicking the ball out, he leads this team in assists in conference play. He's ranked top 10 in the Southern Conference in assists as a 6'9" forward/center. How is this coming about, and how well is he seeing the court right now?
Yeah, to add to your point, he's second in our league in assist-to-turnover ratio, behind Rylan Jones, I think, at Sanford. And so, again, everything you just said, and being second, being 1 or 2 in assist-turnover ratio in this league is impressive in its own right. But I think, it speaks to Kyler's, the combination of him being selfless and him being assertive, because both of those go hand in hand. If you're constantly just looking for assists, then I think sometimes the defense doesn't have to help. And if obviously you're just, a black hole and you're only looking to score, you turn the ball over, the defense is able to kind of, focus in on you. And so quite simply, he's just taking what the game gives him. I think when Kyler's being physical and he's being aggressive, I think there's very few times whether teams want to double him or not, they can get to it with how we play. And then when you have guys like Kyler and the other players on our team that are willing screeners, willing passers, willing cutters, and you have the ability to shoot the ball the way we do, I honestly think it's pick your poison. But again, a lot of that goes back to playing unselfish basketball and just making the simple and right play. And, we're in a period right now where Kyler's assists are getting a lot of credit. In the non-conference, Corey's, assists were getting a lot of credit. And I think, when we're playing the right way, there's going to be ebbs and flows with certain guys, just raw numbers like assists and points. But at the end of the day, like we've spoken about in the past and like our team has bought in, the most important thing is a Wofford score. And on the other end, the most important thing is a Wofford stop. And if you can have that mentality over 40 minutes, regardless of who gets the credit or who gets, the accolades or the production on the box score, as long as Wofford has more points than the other team, that's what really matters. And I think you have a group of guys that are really buying into that. And so it's really cool to see.
All right, we will take this whole ball of wax we've been talking about and take it on the road this week. Coming up, a big battle down in Alabama and what this guy is like away from this building. Look out, it's next here on Inside Wofford Basketball.
Black and gold. Bold. A victory story about to be told. Grit, toughness, and tenacity. A hub of hard work in Hub City. We're on these wins like dogs on a bone. In the zone. Our place, in your face, won't leave you alone. Strength, speed, fire, true. I'm sorry, do these things trouble you? We're Wofford College. We fly the W. Ingles, proud partner of the Wofford Terriers.
And welcome back to Inside Wofford Basketball, sponsored by Yokohama. So the Terriers will take that 12-9 overall record, 5-3 in the Southern Conference, down to Sanford this week to take on the Bulldogs, who are undefeated at home, #1 team in the league. They like chaos. We have talked about it. Bucky McMillan, his system, even more so this year, Dwight. They press all the time. They play with their hair on fire. They're going to shoot the ball about 5 seconds into every possession. What can a coach, what can a staff do to game plan and practice and get these guys ready for that kind of look that they'll face?
Yeah, I think the most important thing is we have to play our brand of basketball. And obviously they have their style of play that they like playing. We have a successful brand of basketball that we think works. And so the most important thing is we have to do a great job taking care of the ball, right? They obviously force a lot of turnovers. If we can take care of the ball with the way we shoot and how effective we are at scoring the ball, we give ourselves a great chance. And then on the other end, we have to do a great job of defending. Again, right, the schematics are secondary. The intensity and the effort at which we played specifically on Saturday against Furman, that can't drop off. And if we have that, regardless of the scheme, that's going to give us a huge advantage. And so, I think a lot of times as coaches, we like to overcomplicate, games and game plans. The most important thing is that we're the harder playing team, we're the tougher team, and we're the more together team. And that's going to be even more true, especially if we're going on the road in a big-time hostile environment.
Hoping we'll pretty much be at full strength. You got Jeremy Lorenz back the other night. What does Jeremy do to facilitate the big man rotation you like to go through, the things that he can do that nobody else can do? How important is it to have that back?
He's invaluable. And, we talked about Anthony Arrington earlier, of him just impacting winning. Jeremy, all he wants to do is win, and he's willing to do whatever the team needs. It helps when that guy is 6'8" and can dribble, pass, and shoot. I tell you that. But, having him back is a game changer because it completely puts our team, on another level as far as what we can do on both ends of the floor. And he's a selfless player. Guys love playing with him. He gives our team great energy. And him just being out there, even if he doesn't score, right, provides us with a huge lift. When you add what he can do with shooting the ball, of being able to score around the basket, him being able to go and get rebounds out of area, again, like I said, it's really invaluable. And so it's great having him back, and I really feel like it's going to help our team moving forward.
And with Jeremy back and Chase Cormier hopefully back soon, you'll be at full strength really for the second half of the conference schedule. The Sanford game will mark the halfway point. As you go into the second time around against these teams, how much do teams adjust from a first meeting? The team that wins, I guess there's a natural tendency, hey, let's do the thing that worked before, while the team that didn't win tries to change all kind of things. Are you guys able to almost self-scout, make sure you're not falling into tendencies? The adjustments that go from meeting one to meeting two, how significant are they usually?
Yeah, I think it's game to game. Sometimes you need to make significant adjustments. Whether you win or lose, but also, again, like we just spoke about with Jeremy, whether a main player was out in your game versus him being back, or vice versa. And so it's very situational. I think the most important thing is there's a balance. You don't want to overcomplicate things and put too much on your guys' plate, but you also want to err on the side of giving your team the best chance in order to win. And so, the most important thing is you have your guys playing hard, playing free, not overthinking, but you also have a game plan that they themselves can execute, right? If you're watching other teams play and they have success doing, certain actions or guarding a team a certain way, but your personnel is probably not best suited for that, then it doesn't make sense to really make that adjustment. But on the flip side, if you see, hey, you know what? This is something we can do. We can really take this away from this team. They really have a tendency to do this, or this player really likes to go to this hand or loves to shoot this type of shot when he's on this part of the floor. Can we take this away while still playing hard and playing to our strengths? And if the answer is yes, we really try to implement that second half go around.
Looking forward to some of these rematches, including after the Samford game, Western Carolina here at Jerry Richardson Stadium on Saturday. Love to see you out here for that one. When we come back, does this guy have a hobby? What does he do when the basketball isn't bouncing? That's coming up next here on Inside Wofford Basketball.
It's the moment you dream of, the moment you work for, train for, run wind sprints when nobody's watching for, the moment when hours of gym time, court time, prep time, all culminate into this time, the moment when millions of bounces, blocks, and boards all add up to this, your moment. Ingles, we're with you every step of the way.
You're true blue, up before the sun. The men and women we count on every day. And you count on your Carolina Ford dealers, so you can be ready for what's next. Stay focused and connected. Help inspire a generation. And when you need us most, we're here for you. Get 1.9% financing for 72 months with up to $4,150 package savings on select Ford trucks, only at your Carolina Ford dealer.
And welcome back to Inside Wofford Basketball with head coach Dwight Perry. I'm Jim Noble. All right, we see you around this building. You're a pretty intense guy. You smile, but it's all about basketball when you're here. In making the transition to the head coaching job last year, the demands on your time, the demands on your family. You're away from your family a lot, especially in season. How do you strike that balance with, and we see your wife Brittany out here, we see Trey and Ashton out here from time to time, sometimes when it's not too late at night, and we understand the support that a coach needs from his family. How are you able to break away from basketball, if at all, during the season?
Yeah, I think first and foremost, my wife Brittany deserves a ton of credit. She's the MVP of our household. She holds the family together. She does a great job, not only with our boys, but just keeping everyone in line. And honestly, in a house full of boys, I know we drive her crazy from time to time. But honestly, really just outside of basketball, I'm relatively laid back. Try not to do a whole lot. Every once in a while, especially, later in the day, when the boys are down for a nap or they're, sleep, may watch some Netflix. I really used to get into movies. Not so much anymore as much. A little more Paw Patrol, stuff like that for 4 and 2-year-olds with Trey and Ashton. But usually, with the great part about the SoCon schedule is you'll practice Monday, Tuesday, you'll play Wednesday, practice Thursday, Friday, play Saturday, and then Sunday's usually our off day. And so honestly, on Sundays, I usually take that time to just hang with my family, decompress and relax. Don't do a whole lot of basketball, if at all, on Sunday, and just kind of hang out with them. And usually that day will kind of take shape. We may go and go to the arcade, or may play putt-putt, or may just hang out. If the weather's not good, may stay inside and watch a movie, may play around in the backyard. But honestly, just hang out with them. And honestly, I enjoy that probably more than anything.
Are the kids old enough to understand winning and losing and what dad does? And, families live and die with coaches on everything. And you're talking about moving. You're talking about success. You're talking about everything. A lot of it revolves around what happens around here on the basketball court. And you guys do a great job of sometimes sheltering them from that. But are they old enough to kind of get, it's really good if the Terriers win and not so good if the Terriers lose for dad?
No, not really. Obviously Ashton's only 2, so no. Trey's 4. He'll be 5 in a couple weeks. And so no, but also I really try to be mindful of not bringing that home. Mm-hmm. And by no means am I perfect. But having the perspective and having the appreciation for them when I do get home, of them not fully knowing how important, the wins and losses are. They're smiling, they're excited to see me regardless, right, of whether we had just lost to Chattanooga or we beat Furman. Their excitement when I get home is the same. And in all honesty, I need that and I love that, because at the end of the day, basketball is really important. I don't think there's a more competitive staff in the conference than us. And obviously I'm biased, but we want to win. Our players want to win. Our players work hard. They work as hard as any team I've been around. And with all that being said, it's still not the end of the world if things don't go our way. And when things do go our way and we win, we're still going to have to wake up and continue to get better. And so at the end of the day, what we do is really important. I don't want to diminish that, but it's also not life or death. And there's still other aspects of life that I think you have to be careful to keep in mind and not lose sight of and keep proper perspective. And by no means am I perfect with that, but one thing I've also appreciative of is I think we have a staff that also believes in that and reflects that as well and tries to exhibit that as best we can, not only just for us, for our mental health, but for our players as well. Because I think at the end of the day, you can have both. There can be a balance. You can want to win, you can be hyper competitive, you can want to work as hard as you possibly can, and if you fall short, then your whole life doesn't need to come crashing down. Because regardless, even if you achieve success, right, if you put all your stock and all your value into that ball going through the hoop, eventually that ball stops bouncing. And even if you win, right, your ultimate goal, the season's over. If you don't have anything left that you're putting value in, you're still going to have a really empty feeling. And I think that's something that we have to be mindful of, and we really try to drive home, not just with our words, but more importantly with our actions.
Very well said. Great perspective. We might as well try to win, though. Why don't we go ahead? Anyway,
Listen. What I said is true now. There's not a more competitive staff in the country. And, obviously, it's not the end of the world if you lose, but make no mistake.
Yeah.
Our staff wants to win.
I didn't mean that the way it came out. It was just, I was so into what you were saying. It's like, all right, all that being equal, let's go out and get some W's. Always enjoy meeting with you. Let's go on the road, get a few more, and come back home and keep it rolling. As always, thanks for your time.
Thank you.
All right, for our entire staff, for our sponsor, Yokohama, I'm Jim Noble, saying we'll see you next time here on Inside Wofford Basketball.